Hi, this is Hangnail, and this is your host, Christian. I want to make a video. I just thought it'd be fun to do. I want to show you some of my vinyl records that I'm most happy to own. And I got a new hat, by the way. I was saved by rock and roll. It's very true. This is a gift, so I appreciate it. Alright, so this video is not about anything other than me showing you a couple of my hand-selected, what I consider my favorite records that I'm like most happy to have. I don't have everything that I want on vinyl, and there are some that I have that aren't here. They're still in Michigan, where I used to live. So I'm gonna just basically show you what I have in my possession that I'm most proud to own, that I have that I can actually show you. And they're not in any particular order, so it is what it is. This, you know, back in the day when Metallica used to be good, somewhere I know I've Injustice for All, but I just don't have it here. When I come across it, I'll show it to you. But I'm happy to have this. I'm happy to have it on record. So that's cool. This here we go. This is you know, everybody knows Dark Side of the Moon. This was the 30th anniversary edition. It's very good sound and everything, and I mean, this is just, to me, this album changed my whole perception of how recording goes. You know, Alan Parsons produced and mixed, and he really took that band to another level. And considering what they were using back in 1973, all the analog equipment and what they achieved, pretty damn good. Here we go. This is also very happy to have this Pink Floyd Animals. To me, this is probably my favorite album by them, and yet also one of the most kind of like, I don't want to say underrated, but it's you know, it's like this little album in between Wish You Were Here and The Wall, and yet you don't really hear these songs on the radio because, number one, they're very long, number two, they're very creepy and nihilistic. It took me a long time to even, like, I heard this album when I was young and I just didn't like it. It was just too fucked up for me. But then you get older, life beats the shit out of you a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like, damn, man, this is just fucking great. And so if anybody is not familiar with Pink Floyd's Animals from 1977, I believe, they really should listen to it in its entirety. It's loosely based on George Orwell's Animal Farm, so there's that. And this was a very big influential album for me when I was a kid. Faith No More, The Real Thing. This album, like, this is basically, but right before the whole alternative, and this was pre-alternative, you know what I mean? This album came out, what, 1989 or some shit? Yeah, like, the world wasn't ready for shit like this. You know, bands like this and King's X sort of got swept under the rug when the whole grunge scene came out, and yet it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this band and this album right here is monumental when it comes to that sort of, you know, alternative, experimental music. The lyrics, the music was just so far ahead of its time, because at the time in the 80s, I mean, you know what was going on in the 80s. Guns N' Roses was the big thing, and you know, so. Here's another one that I'm real happy to own on vinyl, if anyone remembers this, MidSeason. This was a one-off album. This is almost like, I consider it like a sibling to Temple of the Dog. Okay? MidSeason consisted of the singer of Alice in Chains, Lane Staley, and the guitarist from Pearl Jam, Mike McCready. And I don't want to screw up the other names. I believe Mark Lanigan from Screaming Trees might have contributed to it. Or at least one or two guys from Screaming Trees on this album. I don't want to go crazy and get all sidetracked by it. And I don't want to not give credit where it's due, but this was great. Apparently, I could have the story wrong, but basically, Mike McCready and Lane Staley were in a rehab together, trying to clean up. You know what I mean? And I guess Mike, you know, did well. I think he's got long-term sobriety. Lane just couldn't do it. You know, he succumbed, and it's sad. But this is a great album. As a matter of fact, there's a song here called November Hotel. Where is it? Can you see it? Yeah, November Hotel. Which is basically about that time they spent in the rehab together. You probably know River of Deceit, and you probably also know what's the I Don't Know Anything. Those are songs that made it to the radio, and sometimes people hear them and they think, oh, it's Alice in Chains, but it's really not. Here we go. Here's another proud one to own. OK Computer by Radiohead. I'm not gonna lie, I got into Radiohead later. I didn't get into them until much later. I maybe it's because I was dating this girl that was like, oh, Radiohead. I just thought maybe it sucked because she liked it. That's terrible. And I was 18 years old, don't get mad. On that note, this album right here. Okay, I gotta show you 2 Radiohead albums. By the way, if you can't tell, this one's much smaller. It's pretty cool. It's a 10-inch record. Kid A. Holy shit, this is like the Dark Side of the Moon of our time. Some people just don't get it. Like when I heard it, I had no idea what to make of that music. I just had no. It was just so surreal, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is it?" I have to listen. Gotta listen to it again. Which kind of reminds me, around the same time, I wish I actually do have it on vinyl somewhere, but the Mars Volta, Deloused in the Comatorium. I have to just mention it because that was also one of those albums at that right around that time. I think it was like Turn Millennium 2000, something like that. They put out this album. It was their first. It wasn't their first. Yeah, it was their. They had an EP before. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, Deloused in the Comatorium was fantastic. I have some of their other records. I'm not gonna bring them up here because Deloused in the Comatorium was the one. But when I find it, I'll show it. Now, this right here, this shit right here, I'm very happy to own this. Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. I gotta tell you, when I'm dating myself a little bit, but when Kurt Cobain decided to commit suicide, or let's just say he passed away, he left us, and I was young, and I was really into Nirvana at that time because it was like it gave me the hope to keep playing guitar. I have to say that this album, I heard this, and I guess it filled the void for me, but this was the next level for me. I remember a friend picked me up and he had this tape playing in the tape deck in a minivan, and I was like, dude, what is this? He's like, oh, you don't know Smashing Pumpkins? I'm like, no, but song after song just played through, and if you don't know this album, if you don't, your life is incomplete. This was probably one of the most important albums, at least of my generation, and it's had a heavy impact on musicians afterwards. Pretty much redefined the whole sound, that wall of sound that you hear a lot of bands trying to achieve with the fuzz and it was just an incredible album. I could go on forever about that one, but here's another monument right here. Soundgarden, Super Unknown. I know that since the passing of Chris Cornell, that the value of this record has probably gone up. Doesn't mean I'm looking to sell it, but this is an original. I like that it's orange and see-through. I always liked it. But let me tell you, I love this album so much. I had this best friend, my buddy Sean. We used to drive around, seriously. We used to drive around non-stop and just fucking smoke weed and listen to Soundgarden all day and night. That's all we did for like a year straight. And we didn't even get to see them on the last tour before they broke up the first time. I saw them at the Roseanne Ballroom. Man, was that a great show. And we got to get the picks and drumsticks from, because my friend's brother-in-law worked security, so we didn't. There was no backstage party. Otherwise, we would have been able to go. But he gave us the stuff on the stage, so we got Matt Cameron's drumsticks, Chris Cornell's guitar pick, and I had no proof. And for years, I carried that fucking guitar pick in my wallet, knowing that Chris Cornell had used it and played it. It wasn't just like, they throw a bucket of picks out and signatures. Like, oh, that's not real. Like, it's cool, it's just a guitar pick, and you could prove that you got it at the concert. But it's not the same as knowing that there's just this dumbass Dunlop pick, and Chris Cornell had used it. And to me, as a kid, it was cool. And same thing with the drumsticks. We used to bring them in the guitar bag, and we used to go to the rehearsal studios, and we'd fucking play the drums there and shit. It was awesome. I have no idea where those things went, but, and like, I've told that story before, and people are like, oh, that would be worth money. How could I prove that that pick was Chris Cornell's? I have no proof other than just the knowledge, so it wouldn't have mattered. It's gone. Life goes on. Let me continue. Actually, I'm gonna do this the other way around. Right here, man. To have this on vinyl is a big deal to me. This was like I don't know what you call it, like Moby Dick, this is the white whale that I had been looking for forever. And brief story was, an ex-girlfriend had given me the tape of Anima back in '96, back when it came out. I believe it was '96 or something. That shit got stuck in my tape deck. Just got stuck and just repeated, and had the auto reverse. I didn't care. I got so sucked into this band. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I just thought I have no words. Just absolutely incredible, And I, as a musician too, listening to the odd time signatures and listening to how they're experimenting with music, this changed my life right here. It really did. I'm not saying I've had this on vinyl the whole time. Probably bought it on CD multiple times. Had it on cassette. But yeah, that's kind of a big deal. I think I found it finally in a record store a couple months ago, maybe almost a year ago, I guess. I couldn't believe that they had it, and I bought it right away. I needed it. And this, of course, I was highly awaiting, but I'd been a huge Tool fan, so when Lateralis came out, I bought it on CD. But I'm happy to say that I have it on vinyl, which is great. I'll show you something kind of cool if you haven't seen it. You can't tell what side it is until another layer of the body gets peeled away. So that's A and B, and if you really want to see the other sides, I guess, and that's C, and then the D side, right? Because you get that lotus thing. So this is I don't know how many pressings they did of this album, but I bought it pretty much, right away. I started collecting vinyl in 2003, okay, and I believe the first record I bought was Pink Floyd's More, the soundtrack from 1969. That'll be for another video. These are just what I consider my favorite ones that I own on vinyl. I'm gonna dig in. I'm gonna do another video to dig into my classic rock and jazz and other albums that really had a big impact on me too. And finally, I'm going to end it with this. Steven Wilson. Now, I was a huge fan of Porcupine Tree first, and if I had it to show you, I would, but I do have Dead Wing, Porcupine Tree's Dead Wing on vinyl, and I also have Fear of a Blank Planet. I'm trying to remember, they're just waiting in Michigan. I'm hoping I'll find out, I'll see when the next shipment of records comes in, what I have. It's weird, you wonder, because a lot of my stuff got stolen, and so my family members came to protect my stuff, so I won't know what I have until it comes back out here. But being that I can't show you any Porcupine Tree on vinyl, I still follow Steven Wilson. He's the main singer-songwriter of Porcupine Tree, which that band doesn't exist anymore, but to me, I think he's one of the most important, prolific, and significant musicians of our time. So I think, it's just it's really great stuff. And sometimes as a musician you think you hit that point where you're like, I'm never going to hear another band that had that impact on me, but every once in a while it happens. You just stumble across the thing. And I have to say, Porcupine Tree with Steven Wilson was probably the last had really huge impact on me, really heavily influenced me as a musician. So that's it. I just wanted to show you those records. I know it's kind of a stupid video, but I'd like to know what you guys think, and I would really like to know if anybody else out there collects records, or even is just into music and would like to share with me stuff that they're into, because that's kind of what I want to do here. I want to keep the music conversation going. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I got those. Those are what those records that I showed you are in what I consider my collection of like post-millennium records, like the newer ones, you know, records that are like, oh my god, I can't believe you have that on vinyl, you know, like having Led Zeppelin on a record is like, that's understandable, you know what I mean? Having Smashing Pumpkins or Tool on vinyl is pretty cool. So that's all I'm really saying. So anyhow, that's the end of my video. Please make a comment. By the way, if you're not subscribed, please do that, and share my channel with anybody else. You know, I'm not trying to be like a shameless self-promoter. I see a lot of people that are doing that, but the thing is, I don't do it enough. I don't encourage people to like, share, and subscribe. So I'm actually asking you to please share my channel, share my videos, and subscribe and all that good stuff, and contribute to the conversation. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, you know, give me a comment. All right, because I like this. This is fun. I like creating content. I love you guys, and have a good day, and rock and roll has saved my soul.